This is a big topic. So
Hmm.
you got hundreds of millions of pounds of glyphosate being sprayed on our beautiful Mother Earth every year. It's terrible how much is being sprayed. If you look at the stats, they just go up and up and up and up and up. And we have GMO corn and soybean accounting for the major places that people are being sprayed. So if you're simply just cutting out
Yep.
those foods from your diet and you're eating animals that don't feed on the soybean and corn, you've already done a great job. But that's not enough, because I recently spoke with Stephanie Seneff, who's been educating and researching about glyphosate, and she's talked about, which you and I've known for a long time, but it's good to hear somebody else validate the research, is it's in the water supply, it's in the food, it's in the air, it's everywhere. So we really have to put in a detox protocol ongoing to be able to deal with this, because even parts per billion levels of glyphosate act as an antibiotic and will kill beneficial bacteria in the gut. And you and I, we don't necessarily call ourselves GI specialists, but we are when it comes to naturally approaching gut infections and restoring gut integrity and gut health. And part of that is getting the glyphosate out of the system so we can truly allow our beneficial bacteria to thrive. So that's kind of the setting the stage of where we're going today.
Exactly. So glyphosate is essentially Roundup, right? It's essentially Roundup. It's a pesticide. So essentially how it works, it's a mineral chelator. So what it does is it basically rips away or kind of is a magnet of all the chelate of all the minerals away from the plant. And so essentially by robbing the plant of all those minerals, it essentially kills it. Is that the major mechanism and how that works?
Yeah, it inhibits the photosynthesis. I don't know the full chemistry behind it, but yeah, basically it starves the plant to death. And then the byproduct or the process of doing that, you're robbing and basically cleaving off these amino acids. And that's the problem. And that's why it's going to end up in joints and everywhere else in the body, because the body's trying to basically absorb the minerals, if you will, but by accident, it's absorbing the glyphosate. So it's number one thing is you got to go organic to get away from it. But the problem is if you're not filtering your water, if you're not filtering your air, you're probably still getting exposure there. Or if you eat out at restaurants, which even I and you and I, we try to do the best we can if we eat out, but we may get exposed to trace amounts there. And kids too. I mean, you send the kid with a school lunch that's organic, but if you don't, they're probably getting exposed to it there. And this stuff accumulates over time. And as Stephanie was talking about with me, the individual parts, meaning like a little bit of glyphosate here, it's a problem. But when you mix it with the dicamba and the 2,4-D and all these other chemicals and the xylene and the gasoline additive chemicals and the plastics and the phthalates and the BPA and the other endocrine disruptors, that's when you really get into trouble. So it's important to hyper focus on one chemical like this, but I want people to just know it's the sum that really creates the problem. And you and I measure for this on the urine. So if people listening are like, well, what do I do? How do I investigate this problem? You simply do a urine sample and we can measure this. And the fun part is when we get people on a detox protocol and we retest, you can see the levels go down. And in a lot of cases, we get the levels to ND, non-detectable limits. That's the most exciting part. So I want to inspire hope with this too. Some of the stats are really depressing on it, but there is hope that you can get this stuff out of your body.
100%.